In 1984, one of the world's richest men did something that shocked everybody who knew him. He gave it all away. Every single penny, or every single penty, as I would say, he gave away all his money. While a lot of rich people in the 80s were flaunting their wealth, I'm aging myself, but do you remember Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous? You remember that TV show? So while a lot of people were flaunting their wealth, this man was quietly giving it all away. And for a really long time, nobody knew who he was. Even watching this video now, you probably have never heard his name before, but his story will really blow your mind. So this is Chuck Feeney. He is one of the most important stories in philanthropy that you probably have never heard about. For over 25 years, literally billions of dollars was going out to charities. It was going towards buildings, universities, helping children, helping the elderly. All of this money was going to nonprofits, not just in the US, but also in Ireland and other areas around the world. Little did people know, Chuck Feeney, who was a billionaire, was giving away all his money to a charity called the Atlantic Philanthropies that he founded in 1982. And literally over 4 decades, he gave so much money away. He gave $570 million to Ireland alone because he was born to Irish American parents. So I'm going to tell a story and explain why you probably have never heard of this man before. I'm Tiffany Allen. I help people start nonprofits, and I just like to share stories of good in the world because we need way more good than what we're experiencing right now. So back to Chuck Feeney. He was born in Elizabeth, New Jersey, during the Great Depression. So his parents were not well off at all. He was actually born poor, but he had a hustle, he had a drive. So even as he was young, he was selling things. He was going door to door, shoveling people's sidewalks. He was selling Christmas cards. He was doing what he needed to do to make money for him and his family. So you knew from an early age, he had that business mindset and he knew how to make money. He enlisted and served in the Korean War in the 1950s. And after he was done, he won a scholarship to Cornell University. So he was the first person in his family to actually go to college. So it was at Cornell University he became known as the Sandwich Man. He would sell bologna sandwiches to his classmates. But soon after, he set his sights on something even bigger. So he noticed that when he was in Korea, there were a lot of sailors who wanted duty-free liquor or tax-free liquor. So what he did was get together with the business partner, and they created the concept of duty-free shops. You know all those shops you see in the airports where you can buy liquor in the airport and you don't have to be charged an extra fee for purchasing that liquor? They created that concept and they expanded it all across the world, and it made them billionaires. But because he was born to hardworking, working class people, it wasn't fulfilling him. It wasn't enough that he was making this money. He wanted to do something about it. So he read an essay by Andrew Carnegie called The Gospel of Wealth, and it really impressed him. One of the concepts that stuck with him was to die rich is to die disgraced. So this got his wheels turning and he wanted to do something different with his wealth. That's when he made a decision that shocked people around him. In 1982, he started a foundation called the Atlantic Philanthropies, and they began to give grants all across the world to nonprofits. But just 2 years later, he decided that he was going to transfer all of his wealth to the Atlantic Philanthropies. So all of his shares, all of his stake in his billion-dollar business that he started would not go to him. It would go to that charity. So he literally gave all of his money away. But there was one condition when he signed his wealth away. He had to be completely anonymous. He didn't want his name on any buildings. He didn't want his name to be mentioned. He wanted to be able to secretly give his money away. So for 15 years, literally 15 years after that, he gave money away anonymously. No one knew the source of the money that the Atlantic Philanthropies had. They just knew the money was coming. And secretly, he was funding areas of interest all across the world, but particularly in Ireland and in the United States. He was dubbed the James Bond of philanthropy because nobody knew who he was and he was very stealth about it. Fast forward to 1997, his company was being bought out and he had to reveal his identity because of a court dispute. And it was from that moment on he decided to be very vocal about his giving strategy and why he wanted to give his wealth away. Now, this was a guy who lived a very frugal life. They said he wore a $15 Casio watch. When he died, he lived in a 2-bedroom apartment in San Francisco with his wife. If you had passed him on the street, you would have no idea that this man was as wealthy as he was and had done all the things he had done across the world. This man literally helped broker a peace agreement in Ireland. He connected with Bill Clinton when he first started his presidential stint, and they worked together to come up with a peace agreement in Ireland, and he was very instrumental in making that happen. And again, he did all this behind the scenes because he didn't want all the fanfare about what he was doing. So in the early 2000s, he became more and more vocal about giving his wealth away, and he even gave a name to it: giving while living. He would say, "Why wait until you're dead to change the world?" So the plan for the Atlantic Philanthropies was really, really radical for people at the time and really, really progressive. So he decided that by 1996, he wanted to spend down all of the money in the endowment. So all the money that he transferred to the Atlantic Philanthropies, he wanted to spend it all. Now, foundations have endowments. They put billions of dollars in these accounts that's drawing down money, and from that drawdown money, they fund people. Generally, foundations are only required to give 5%, but he wanted to spend all of his money down. Now, he didn't do it in a year. It took about 15 to 20 years, and they finally spent all the money by the year 2000. And to make this even more real for you, that was about spending $1 million a day. So in order to spend down all the money they had in their endowment, they literally, on average, had to spend $1 million a day. So you may be wondering, well, where did all this money go? As I said before, he gave a lot of money to Ireland, building a university, investing in aging, investing in schools, investing in human rights, and dealing with inequality. And he did very similar work in America. So he gave money to Cornell University. He gave money to his old high school in New Jersey. He supported community schools. He supported dementia research. If you go on the Atlantic Philanthropies website, you'll see all the things that they did, and they actually have like a timeline and visual stories of all the great work that they did. One time he was invited to a Giving Pledge event by Bill Gates. So Ted Turner was there and Warren Buffett was there, and they committed to give $1 billion in that event. And Chuck said, "Y'all not doing enough. You need to give $100 billion. He was quoted as saying, "Don't do a lap of honor giving away $1 billion when you actually have $100 billion. So Chuck was not playing with them, and he lived a life of giving. All in all, his foundation gave away around $8.3 billion. He died peacefully on October 9th, 2023. So he just recently died. This man has been alive, and nobody really talks about him. But I just want to share one quote that he gave that really sums up his life. "It's a lot more fun to give while you're alive than to give while you're dead." If you had that much money, would you give away all of your money? If you had a successful business, would you give it all to charity? I would love to know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're interested in doing some good and you want to start a nonprofit, then comment nonprofit checklist below, because I have a free checklist that shows you how to do it yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.